Hey everybody, welcome to episode number 5 of the IT Files. I'm your host, John Putnam. I'd like to introduce you to, I'm sorry, Zing! See, I gotta do my little thing there. I'd like to introduce you to my co-host, Chris Jones.
Boom! Oh, man.
And my other co-host, Samir Vitvikar. He's got a black screen right there. He is.
Boom!
Wait. Is that your notebook?
Yeah, I just got some points over here.
He blew up his notebook.
He did. Boom. It's electrifying.
Tonight's episode, we're going to launch into a discussion of aliens and alien-related discussions. And the way we got to that was I read an article today that the Indian Space Research Organization released some neat images from their Mars orbiter. Some of the canyons on Mars, and I just thought it was interesting that, I mean, these are some really nice high-resolution pictures. I read that the Mars orbiter is actually the first mission from, I believe they said, from an Asian country that succeeded on their first attempt to make it to Mars. It's interesting because the articles always mention the successful low-cost Mars mission, and has been lauded as a major milestone for the country's space program. And since Samir is from India, he's going to address the space program. There you go. We saw that. He's going to talk all about the Indian space program. Right, Samir?
Yeah, is it going to be just me? No.
No.
Yes. I'm pretty sure I saw an alien in one of the pictures, and I guess I take it the reason they had the mission was to scout out a new location for a call center on Mars. That was humor. Okay.
It took me a while, but I got it.
That was humor. I should have a laugh track. I'll do that next week. I'll have a laugh track. Then I can just turn it on whenever I think it should be funny. So. But, you know, that kind of makes me think about... I watched the show the other night, and they were talking about a mission that the United States sent to Mars in the 70s, and its purpose, among other things, was to try to find life, quote life, on Mars. Mm-hmm. And one of the tests apparently was successful in, I think the test had something to do with basically inciting microbes to release a gas, and if a gas was released, then that's a sign that there were microbes in the soil. And apparently they did have a positive result from that test. However, the results of that test contradicted some other tests that they had done, so therefore I think NASA was hesitant to release those results to the public. But I think some experts were indicating that they thought that it wasn't that there was not, microbial life on Mars. It was that it wasn't the kind of life that they expected in their testing. So, which brings up the subject now, like when we're talking about life on other planets, what is that life, and what would that life look like? I guess, we're kind of talking about aliens. I think the common perception about aliens is that they would have 2 legs and stand upright and look like us. At least that's what's in a lot of the movies. But I don't know. What do you think, Chris Jones? What do aliens look like?
Well, you know what? That's an interesting question. What defines an alien? How do we know that chickens are not alien? How do we know?
Yeah,
You know,
we don't know.
how do we? Yeah, how do we know that? What classifies an alien? Um, I'm assuming that the aliens have 2 feet and 2 eyeballs and a big giant head because we have people today that have big giant heads and eyeballs and regular human features. But how do we actually know that's what an alien looks like, or that's what defines an alien? An alien could have the same DNA as us, or the main reason that they gave the word alien to it is because it's unknown. So when we find a new organism, is that an alien? It's a good question.
Mm, yeah, I mean, I think probably an alien is someone basically like something that is very much scripted. I mean, it's not a contradictory thing because probably there might be some aliens around, but I think it's comparatively scripted thing that someone initiated about this thing, and then probably people started believing it. I'm still not sure because I find it kind of a little a mythical thing because I mean they have compared aliens to our past history, and how do we know that it's not necessary that they have 2 eyes or like 2 nostrils or kind of a mouth? It's not necessary. It can be it on the other side. It can purely be a doppelganger, but like I think alien can be anyone or maybe someone from a different land. You know.
Or check this out. Let me blow your mind with this. How do we know
Hmm.
aliens aren't humans that just evolved? Like, did we evolve from cavemen? There's still species right now that evolved from dinosaurs because they were here and they changed and they adapted and they have lived as long as dinosaurs have. So who knows? We could be the aliens that we've been looking for. We just adapted to live on this earth. Ha ha ha.
Ah, interesting, Mr.
What do you
Jones.
think?
You're blowing our
Yeah.
minds with science.
Boom.
With science.
Science,
You know,
yes.
there's a theory that our entire universe, the universe that we know, everything that we know, could be contained in a molecule, say on a fingernail of some being. So if you think about that, it's like maybe we are nothing in the grand scale of the universe. Maybe our entire universe is just microscopic, and we just think it's huge because we are in fact tiny.
Exactly. What do you think about this, Samir?
Yeah, I mean, uh, I think, yeah, there is some science related to the complete definition of what an alien is, because I have been reading some articles, just not today, but before as well. And what an alien can be anyone who belongs to a different land. Probably they are living in Mars, and if we go there, we are alien for them. But
Yes.
that's not necessary because what every scientist has. I'm not making a remark, but what every scientist has said in his research or in any thesis is aliens are kind of not a disturbance but a substance that have been tracked when they were making some network between two planets. It can be a comet or it can be a meteor as well.
Can't be a black hole.
So I'm not totally, yeah, I'm not totally flipping the coin of aliens are not there because there have been so many news articles that say that aliens have abducted humans for their needs, for their requirements, or to learn something from humans because we call ourselves as human.
Right. I think we need to, to talk about aliens, we have to draw a line between the popular conception or perception, I'm sorry, of aliens versus the facts, whatever they may be. Because I think what everyone is more familiar with is the Hollywood version of what an alien is. Whether the alien be evil or benevolent or but I think the fact is probably that they would be either far more advanced than we are or far less advanced. And if the civilization that we're talking about is far more advanced, then they would probably have a lot more technology than we have access to. And that brings up an interesting discussion that Chris and I had earlier about round spaceships. The popular perception is that spaceships are round. At least that's what we see in the pictures. But the discussion becomes, well, why would they be round? Are they round because back in the early days when people first became aware of flying saucers, that pie tins were very common, and we could put them together and make things that look like UFOs? Perhaps.
And why don't we design all our weather balloons to look like space shuttles? Or, UFOs.
Yeah.
There's so many weather balloons, and I've seen a weather balloon. It looks nothing like a round disc, but everyone, seems to say they've seen a space shuttle, and the government said, "Oh no, that was a weather balloon, but it was in the shape of a disc."
Yeah.
Yes, I think some allege that the government actually has possession of alien technology, such as
Area 51.
flying discs, space Area 51,
Area 51.
Yeah, and beyond that certain developments in the U.S. Armed Forces are based on alien technology.
Yes. Cell phones.
Such
That's
as
alien technology.
Yes, such as stealth technology is alleged to be based on alien technology. Radar absorbing panels, etc., etc. But I digress. If we're, and I think you have a valid point. If we go back a minute to, what is an alien? I'm not sure if chickens are aliens. Although you bring up a valid point.
I had some fried alien 2 days ago.
Was it delicious?
It was awesome with hot sauce.
Those aliens are going to be mad at you.
Yeah. I'm eating their children. Now we're talking about chicken here. So.
That reminds me of a scene in Men in Black, at the end where the alien is trying to escape the planet, and Will Smith stops him. His character stops him by stepping on a roach.
Ah, yeah.
Which the alien didn't care for because it was his kind.
Right. Play that scene, John.
That may. Okay. I don't have it. We should try that. I don't know how that would work.
We'll have that scene
technology.
Next time. That's technology. That's alien technology.
Yeah, next time. Or we'll just paste it onto the end of this episode. No, we'll just cut it in.
Oh yeah,
So there was the scene.
It was awesome.
Right, we'll pretend like it just played. See? There you go. Right, just like I just saw an alien. Perception is reality. So, some people allege that Tom Cruise is an alien.
And how about, for example, aliens are friendly and they want to work like humans?
What about the Star Trek directive of non-interference?
Oh, yeah. There's always that.
You know, in Star Trek, Samir, they always say that because they're more advanced, they can't interfere because that would change the path of events on the planet if they go visit.
Right. That's just like if you were secretly recorded for a TV show, and then you found out that you were on a TV show, you wouldn't do anything that's spontaneous because you know you would be on a TV show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. So what do you guys think? Do you think Mars has any alien life on it?
Wait. We can't answer that question yet. First,
we didn't define aliens yet.
Yes, we have to define alien.
Right. Right.
So,
and of course, I'm thinking, because I saw the special on the microbes. Of course, I'm thinking about microbial life existing perhaps under the surface, you know, where it's sheltered from heat and sun and cold. I think there is life on Mars.
There's life, but is it alien life?
I think so.
Samir, do you think it's...
And by alien life...
Do you think it's alien life, or do you think it could be a human? It could be like, you know, the building blocks to build a human.
What if it was like microbes? What if it was microbes that were on an asteroid that crashed into Mars?
Oh.
And how about there are some gases that prevent our life to exist there, but there are some, or there is some kind of existence who can survive those gases that are there in Martian land.
And there are some on this planet that exist in the same conditions that there are on Mars. So we know it's possible. It's a fact.
It's a fact.
Speaking of gas, no.
So, I mean, to be honest, that there's some type of life on Mars, but we don't know if it's alien life. Because no one in the history of defining, you know, what defines an alien has actually said what's an alien.
That's right. Of course, I mean, we could limit our discussions to... What's going on over there, Samir?
Are you having a party? You didn't invite us?
No. I'm just facing some lag.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, perhaps we should focus our discussion on...
Yeah, but the show must go on.
Life. Yes, the show does go on.
Now, what are we focusing on again, John?
I don't know. No. I was talking about intelligent life, you know, which really narrows the spectrum there, because I would say the odds are you're going to find microbes on an asteroid. You're going to find microbes on a planet. You know, these things, undoubtedly, if you look long enough, you're going to find out there somewhere. But I guess what we're really interested... we are made of microbes.
Right. And
So,
we're somewhat smart, I think.
I think we're not as smart as we think we are. I suspect.
That's true.
We think we're very advanced, but I suspect, because gosh, let's talk about our technology for a second. All of the technology that we've accumulated and all of our advances with computers and smartphones and networks and all of this stuff, I mean, it didn't exist 100 years ago. And 100 years is so small on the scale of evolution. It's barely a blip, on this planet even. So, can you imagine a civilization that has existed for 1,000,000 years? I mean, if they're able to last that long, how advanced would they be? It'd be like crazy science. They
Unless it's
probably
like the
would.
Mayan calendar. Unless it's like the Mayan calendar and it ends at a certain point. So you only get as smart as you can, and then there's no room to grow because you have nothing to compare it with. Maybe.
I guess I don't understand your point.
Well, they may live for like 1,000,000 years, but they may not be as advanced as we think, because we haven't seen past 1,000,000 years, so we don't know how much we would advance. Maybe they're in like a rut, and they haven't anything new. That's why we haven't met yet, because they have no idea how to get to us, and we can't get to them because we haven't evolved at that point to where we're both stuck at a certain point.
Right. Of course, I was speaking of a society that existed for 1,000,000 years, not like one being that existed for a million years.
Yeah, society, right?
So, I mean, let's suppose. I mean, it's so unfathomable that even our society could go that long. It's hard to even say where we would be. I mean, would we be hip hopping, or hopping across the universe and saving 1,000 years? I know. I'm so sorry about that. So let's say, you know what I'm saying? Imagine where we will be as a society. I mean, say we don't blow ourselves up in 1,000 years. We've made all the advances we know of in 100 years.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying. I mean, I think you can advance only so far, and then the only reason that we're advancing now is because we have things to compare it with. Somebody invented the telephone. Somebody tell me who invented the telephone. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Alexander Graham Bell.
Yes, that Bell guy.
The Bell guy.
So
yes,
they had the regular, rotary phone, and then they had like the bag phones, and then they had the car phones, and now they have cell phones. Now they have watches with phones. We're getting smaller, but we're not advancing the ideal anymore. A phone is a phone.
We are still just turning to nanotechnology. That's what they call it.
Right, but apply that nanotechnology, and we'll make it to nanotechnology. We're already doing research dealing with nanotechnology, but that nanotechnology is still going to have the same concept as if you have a nano cell phone that's built into your brain somehow. It's still a phone. So Mr. Bale, he came up with this idea. So we're missing that kind of thinking forward, and I think maybe the aliens have lived so long that they may be in that same rut where they're not thinking forward either. So their technology, and we're stuck with ours, which we're still building ours, and we'll get better and better and better and advances, but maybe they've made so many advances they have nothing to compare with, and eventually we'll make it that far where we have nothing to compare with, so we're going to kind of start the technology trend back over again. and advances in technology.
Yes, what you're
Yeah.
speaking of is a quantum leap forward in technology
Yes.
and thinking, and and it is an interesting topic to me. How did Alexander Graham Bell
Hmm.
imagine the thing that nobody knew we needed?
Right. Well, he knew we
That to
needed to
me is
communicate.
always over distances.
Right.
Uh-huh.
So, but still, basically, the idea is one of taking something that doesn't exist and imagining that it could. And to me, that's always been something that that's a rare skill set. I think the ability to perceive things that could exist and to be able to implement them. Right, Chris Jones? I know you do that.
No, that's right. I mean, that's just like the light bulb, and I invent a lot of things, and I build a lot of gadgets, but I talk to John, and I say, hey, this is a cool idea, and then we look a little bit online, and we say it's already been done. So we're moving at the pace in technology advancement that there's nothing that we can fathom right now that has not already been done. And we're recreating the wheel until that
Hmm.
next big thing comes out again. And those big ideas haven't happened since Alexander Graham Bell and the inventor of the motor vehicles and the inventor of the light bulb and the inventor of the first computer. Those ideas are just being repackaged right now. So I think that maybe the aliens are in the same rut. If there's any aliens out there, maybe they're in the same rut where they're creating the same thing over and over and over. But at some point they get stuck, and it takes that special person or that special um, generation to build something that's new.
But
So,
oh, go ahead, go ahead.
no, go ahead, Samir.
Okay. Uh, I mean, it's kind of a little bit non-technical, but it's more of a conceptual question that like I'm curious about. We know what we are using because we have seen that thing. But what are they using? What things are, I mean, what resources they have? Are they using the speed of light, or are they using something, you know what I mean?
I mean, they could be using the same thing. I highly doubt that the aliens have figured out to travel
Mm-hmm.
pretty far, or be able to stay somewhere that far. I don't know, so if Samir, if you've seen the movie The War of the Worlds,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
the aliens actually came to the Earth to kind of terraform, kind of take the Earth over and take the resources and go back home. But
Uh-huh.
they didn't they couldn't survive in our atmosphere
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they had nothing to compare it with. They didn't know, as soon as they got out, or as soon as they drank some water, that they were going to die. Um, and that's the kind of thing where I think that's why I am sure aliens haven't made it here, or if they have made it here, the people that, or the aliens or the life forms that they sent over didn't make it back. It's kind of like if we send somebody to the further reaches of space, we're not going to see them again,
Uh,
because it'll be past our generation before they make it
yeah.
back to tell us what they've seen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of answered my question. I mean, I was quite, I'm not, I wasn't unsure, but I was like, I wasn't knowing that thing. I mean,
Yeah.
I wasn't able to think to that beyond maybe, but yeah, but they are there.
So what level will our society, aspire to? Where will the point? I mean, if the theory is correct, then where will we get stuck? Will it be 10 years from now, or would it be 1,000 years from now? You know, at some point I would think the science is going to max out our ability to utilize the science.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, the biggest thing is they're working on this, and I think it's maybe biology, or I can't remember what science area that they're actually practicing or working on this, but the human mind isn't used at 100%. We're only using maybe 50, 75. I don't think we're using 75%. I still think it's 50%. Females use a little bit more of their brain. Theirs maybe 60%.
Mm-hmm.
I think that untapped piece of the mind would actually open up our thought process, and we could come up with new ideas. Right now, you know, we've been adapted to a point where we're just creating these technologies over and over and over, and we're making them better and smaller, but we're not coming up with anything new because our brains can't imagine anything new. Like, you know, why can't we do teleportation? Right now, you know, they've tried teleportation, and it's killed whatever specimen that they teleported, but maybe that's because our minds aren't open enough to figure out that equation to do that teleportation. So that would be the next thing to make our species last longer, is to figure out how to use that 100% of our brain.
But I wonder even if is teleportation even physically possible? Because, like I said, you're going to be limited by the physics.
Right,
You
but
know,
the only
or-
reason
Go ahead.
the only reason that we're limited by the physics is because we can't imagine that, or we can't fathom being able to teleport, because I said it's not possible because the physics aren't there to move a piece of these particles to other particles. But maybe that's because we're not opening up enough of our brain to do that processing. That's just like, you know, if your computer was a quad core and you're only running on 2 cores, that's fine, but just think of what you would be able to do if you could have that other core.
Well, that's just crazy talk.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is something you know, everyone is still very much unclear about, because we don't have specific results on this thing. But again, coming back to a basic question, what do you think, John? Do aliens really exist, or do you think they can have a life over here, or like after 100 years we can have a life there? What do you think, Chris, as well?
Well, I'm going to blow
gonna
your
say,
mind.
wait, aliens
Yeah.
exist,
Yeah.
and they're here. That's what I'm going to say. What do you think, Chris Jones?
Well, I'm going to say the same thing, and I'm going to take it a step further and say that we're aliens.
That's a little bit like
I'm not even...
cheating on the test, isn't it?
Because all the technology advancements, everybody says, comes from aliens, or aliens visited, you know, the Earth. I think we were the aliens, and we've adapted.
Ah.
Uh-huh.
So if
What do you think about those apples?
if your theory is correct, that means that aliens from another civilization visited this planet, and we are kind of the cast-offs, or
Right.
we're unable to return.
That's a theory, yeah.
So therefore, in order for your theory to be right, there would have to be other civilizations, or at least one.
Right.
So, where is it?
I don't know. It could be abandoned. I mean, it could have ran out of resources, and they said, "Hey, we gotta send the rest of these people to another planet." If you guys seen the movie Interstellar, and if you
Mm-hmm.
haven't, you should probably go watch it. It's a really good movie.
Yeah.
That kind of happened. That scenario happened where the Earth's resources were used up, and we had to move. So I think that's what happened. Is we might have moved from another planet.
Huh.
Well, and if this planet continues on the course that it's on, it will at some point become uninhabitable. Say for example, all the bees die.
Yeah.
We're unable to grow crops. At some point, we as a planet would probably launch a mission to try to find another planet that we could live on. So therefore, the sci-fi becomes true because we were unable to maintain our own planet, so therefore we would have to find another.
Or have
Or
we already found another planet and we're fixing it up now and just not telling anybody?
Secret mission.
Yeah.
well, maybe that's Mars.
Ha.
Maybe that's why we've had 4 countries send not probes, but spacecraft to Mars. To investigate the environment. I guess the possibility of hosting life.
Mm-hmm.
We would then become Martians.
Martians. So probably
We would be the.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say we would be the aliens on Mars.
Yeah.
So would I be Dr. Martian Jones?
Dr. Martian Jones.
And I'm already a non-resident alien.
Yeah, what would that make you, Samir?
So
Well, that's assuming that once you make it to another planet, there's other countries. I don't think that's going to work.
so you think everyone
Yes.
will together?
Would you maintain your citizenship if you went to Mars?
It's a new country.
It's a new country.
Yeah. It's a new planet,
I guess-
new country.
There would be no point in being a citizen of any country if you were living on another planet,
That's true.
unless you came back, I guess.
Yeah. So probably after 100 years, government will be promising of making treaties with other planets.
This is true. Because as soon as you create a civilization on another planet, or whether it be the moon or Mars or whatever, and they become an independent society, then aren't they, in fact, their own country and independent? I mean, much like the United States became independent, you would probably have, a colony on a planet that decided they would become independent.
Mm-hmm.
A little harder on another planet because you don't have, oxygen for the most part,
Uh-huh.
but still possible.
Yep.
I have seen that Mars orbiter, maybe like you can say the vehicle. I went to Smithsonian Museum where they have this Mars vehicle. So it's kind of a vehicle that you can use to walk in Mars, or like travel in Mars, like what scientists have been using.
And where was that at?
It was kind of a machine that they used to move in, or use as a kind of a transport to move into Mars, or you can travel with that thing in Mars. But I don't know what exactly it is, because they haven't specified, or they haven't given much instruction about it. but
Oh,
yeah, I mean, it was there in Smithsonian Museum. I mean, I can show you the figure how it was. Um, yeah, so
Hmm.
it was exactly like this. This is this is kind of what they are using to, um, you know, or they will be using in future. I mean, they are using it right now.
yeah, that looks like a Curiosity. That's the rover that they sent to
Mm-hmm.
Mars,
Yeah, it's kind
and
of a
it's
rover.
kind of interesting because the thing is actually the size of a car. It's huge, but it's like a little mobile robot
Yeah.
um, that has solar panels, has battery chargers, has Wi-Fi, has internet, has its own little satellite. It has just about everything built into itself.
Hmm. Yeah, that's right. It's called. I think it's exactly called a rover. I think.
I I've even built like little rovers that kind of drive around, but it's nothing like the one from NASA. The NASA one, they took technology from a lot of different places. I even think that they sent like music records up there and slabs of rock with things carved into it, just so in case I guess something finds the rover, like intelligent life, they would be able to play our music or play the message that we wanted to send them.
Uh-huh. You know, I was unable to take the complete photograph of this thing, but because there were so many people looking for it, so like this, it was something like this. This was the rover.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
There's an interesting website. It's at mars.nasa.gov/MSL, and MSL stands for Mars Science Laboratory. You can go
Mhm.
out there and you can get updates on the Mars rover. You can see what's new, um, and just find out all kinds of neat things about what we're actually doing on Mars. So, we, being the aliens that are invading Mars, could you imagine if we happened upon some creature or something? It would probably be quite a shock, both to us and to them, to see Earthlings on their planet.
Yeah.
So who would be the alien, us or them? We would both be alien to each other, I think.
yeah, I think so.
They would perhaps have green blood like Mr. Spock, and but lots of interesting things going on, and maybe we are. Are we scouting Mars for just out of curiosity, as the name
Hmm.
of the rover implies, or are we really looking? Are we looking for another home, or will we save this one? I
No,
like that choice the best.
but
You think it's not possible?
when we're on the wrong track if we are. We're
Yeah, it's
growing we're growing at a like an unbelievable pace. Um, I mean, it's just too many humans on the planet, and then we're all consuming resources. Just think of the amount of gas and pollution that you, as just one individual, spreads into the atmosphere just going to work, to come home and be able to eat and live your life, and then you go home and then you run electricity, you run all these things, and that's electrical plants that is spewing out chemicals in the air again. So I mean, it, we're we're just too advanced, and we're not actually fixing the problem. We're just consuming the goods.
Hmm.
Right, and it's even compounded by the fact that as China becomes a major industrialized country, that they have not yet fully implemented environmental productions, nor have we for that matter. you know. But I think perhaps they may be a little worse because they uh, they have our current technology and are using it to pollute at an even greater rate than they would have if they, evolved the technology as we did originally, thereby generating much more pollution.
Hmm.
Right.
But I mean, I'm not blaming China for pollution, but I mean, we're all responsible. We're all responsible for polluting this planet, and you know, it seems like I used to hear a lot more talk about preserving this planet for future generations, and it's almost like the politicians don't want to talk about that these days.
Yeah.
Maybe we're so deep in the pockets of corporations that we can't even talk about that anymore.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's that, and maybe where there was a point where we could save the Earth, but then we passed that threshold. I think the point that we probably could have saved the planet was probably back in maybe the 80s, where they said, "Hey, stop everything that you're doing. Stop over polluting. Stop, not recycling. Stop dumping stuff into landfills." Now we actually have landfills that, or it could, or as high as like, well, not probably not as high as Everest, but pretty high. We're making mountains out of our trash, and that's big because we make things that can't be turned into to recyclable goods because we're going the cheap way out. So I mean, I think we've already passed that. And maybe that's why we're doing all this exploration, and these private companies are now doing explorations, trying to figure out how do we make it to another planet.
Yep. Maybe we should build a mountain out of trash that extends up into space. Then we could climb up. We'd have to put probably I'm just thinking out loud here. We'd probably have to put a giant chimney on it for all the gases to escape, from the decaying organic matter.
Yeah.
But then, of course, we would destroy the ozone layer with that. So we probably would have to have it bent directly into space,
Yeah.
which could be kind of interesting because then we'd be leaving a huge gas trail as the Earth orbits around the sun.
Yeah.
But I'm going to put that out there as a proposal. A giant, like in the middle of the country, a giant mountain of garbage.
A kind of
Yeah.
something like like a hole in the plastic bottle, and just looking at the water coming, like water draining all the way out. Because if we disturb that side of the earth, then probably we might just see just the water, or maybe just the land, or maybe we just give a way for aliens to come to earth again. you know if we can go there, then they can use that thing to come in.
Now, I'm putting this out there because I think this is a really good idea for a movie. That in the future there's this giant mountain made out of garbage, and maybe there's colonies that live up on different levels,
Uh-huh.
all the way up to space because, to get the garbage up so high, you probably have to transport it using different vehicles up along the mountain. And different colonies are living on the garbage mountain that goes up into space.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
don't steal my idea.
That's interesting.
So so kind of we all think that um, aliens are there, probably like after 100 years or maybe 200 years, probably we'll have life somewhere in other planet as well. Probably we'll be having some kind of commuters, or like things that can take us there, you know. But this is
You know,
something like, uh-huh, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Um, this might be something like right now probably beyond the imagination, but I think there can be something that might take us to the outer world, and kind of it's a very vague thing, vague right now because I don't know many of the things about it, but I'm pretty sure humans will find out a way somewhere, and that's what they are using these days. They call it substantial development or sustainable development, you know. So you, I mean, we can predict few things, but some things are out of our hands. I think so.
Well, we will. If there's money to be made, we will figure that out. We're good at that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
We can make
Branson
money.
is Branson, the guy that
Go ahead.
owns like Virgin Mobile and like the Virgin Airlines. He's actually building an airline that actually takes you into space. And you actually go to the outer orbits of space, so you would be able to travel to space just like you would on a regular plane. He's already sent like test flights up there, and they've been halfway successful. So we're getting close.
Getting close.
It's an interesting time because it's a time
Whoa.
that's
Samir's having a party. That's what's happening.
No, I'm not having any part, nothing like that. I'm just sitting in my room. Probably there are some visitors downstairs.
It's a time reminiscent of when the Wright brothers were inventing the first airplane. You know, that we are now inventing the first consumer
Spaceship.
spacecraft. So. Well, Mr. Jones, do you have any alien technology in your office?
I do have some alien technology, and this one's going to require me to show you guys the technology that I have today is, if you've ever heard of Hue lights. These are lights that have Wi-Fi built into them, as well as Zigbee. Zigbee is a type of radio frequency that communicates on a certain radio wave. These lights are built to change colors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch my camera here so you guys can actually see this in action.
Oh, I see a picture of Chris Jones. Chris will be right back after these messages. Chris Jones. Oh, I think he may have.
Yeah, what I was
There
trying
you
to
are.
do was actually, I was trying to join from my my cell phone here, but we're already in the video here. But these hue lights, I'm going to move my monitor up a little bit so you guys can see. So a light that I have up here, and the light allows you to actually change the colors. So we're going to change this here. And I'm doing this all from my little smartphone here. So let's change it to red. So these lights are controlled again over Zigbee. And I'm controlling this from my cell phone, but you can control this from your computer. You can control it from Android programs. A lot of things you can actually control these lights from. I have these in a good deal of places around my house right now, where it's pretty good light. Right now it's pink light, and then you can change it back to the regular bright light here. But it has a pretty good spectrum of lights that you can change it to. It's pretty fast the way that it actually changes. Not too much of a lag.
Is it a light bulb?
It is a light bulb. These are they're the size of just a regular light bulb, but they're pretty heavy. And the reason that they're heavy is because they have about 300 LEDs inside of them. So there's LED lights inside of the light bulb. So the light bulb's really never going to go out as long as you have it, unless you break it. But you just screw it in like you would a regular light bulb and plug it in, connect it to your Wi-Fi, and you're good to go. So right now I'm actually working on programs and things around my house that can actually change the light color based on mood and temperature. So, if it's cold in the house, all the lights will change to like a bluish hue. If warm, they'll change to red. So that's something I was playing with. It works really well in my my movie room because you can change the color. You can actually dim these right here. So these have dimmers kind of built into them.
Psychologically thinking, I was thinking that, maybe in the summer you might want to have the blue light in your house because it might make you feel cooler than the red light.
Right. I mean, yeah, that's just, psychologically, yeah, you would feel cooler with blue light than you would with the red light. There's also sunset mode, so if you want to be relaxed, there's relaxing light, so it has like a certain tint to it. There's reading light that is kind of optimal for reading. The lights are pretty cool. I just happened to find these on Craigslist. They're pretty unaffordable if you try to go get them from the store. The bulbs are about $70 a piece. And if you buy the actual package that has 3 in the package, you're going to spend about $300 for a package. I just happened to find a guy on Craigslist that gave me about 12 bulbs for about $150. So I was like, wow, that's a crazy price, but I'll buy them from you.
Yeah, wow,
I've been wanting to put these lights.
That sounds stolen. Go ahead.
No, he was a real estate. He was a real estate agent, so he did it to stage houses, but he got out of the real estate business, and he sold the houses, and the people didn't want to buy the bulbs. So he didn't have any more houses to put it in, so he said he just had them in storage. He had a lot more than that. The guy had over like 300 bulbs, and he had to get some kind of deal on that because I couldn't imagine somebody buying 300 bulbs at about $70 a piece.
So can you set each bulb to a different channel, or are they configurable that way?
Yes, each bulb is set to a different channel. My outside patio light I leave on at night. It's a different color. I change it to blue, to red, to green. The upstairs, my lamps, they have their own light. The overhead has its own light. Everything has its own IP address. So it's managed through its own IP address.
Oh, but interestingly, I mean, you could say you had a big patio. You could set all the lights out there to the same color and control them all at once.
Right. You can set something called
in the house.
Right, and you can set something called scenes. That's what I wanted to show you with the actual cell phone, but I couldn't get it to work properly. But you guys probably can't see that, but those are scenes that you can actually set for your light bulbs. You can have 50 bulbs in one scene, and you can actually drag the bulb on top of a picture or the color on the actual picture, and it'll change that bulb to the color of that picture. So if you had a picture with some green, blues, and reds in it, if you had a picture of you and you could use that picture and set it up as a scene, you could actually change the light bulbs to that color.
So do they have? Can you set them on a schedule?
Yeah, I have mine come on at 7 o'clock at night for my den area, because that's usually when I know to to kind of wind down and relax and go and watch TV or kind of relax a little bit. So I have my upstairs lights turn on, and they turn on to like a little relaxing color. When I am close by my house, it has something called geoforcing. So it actually turns all the lights on for me. So when I drive up, all my lights in my house are already on. Oh, hello?
Lighting has changed. Here's another neat website for you guys to check out. It's www.meethue.com. It's a website sponsored by Philips Lighting, one of the makers of Hue Lighting, so you can get out there and check out what they've got going on. Not a sponsor, by the way, but just relevant.
And another really cool thing is we had Alexa, the Amazon product, the Amazon Echo. We had that on the show a couple of episodes ago. And Alexa actually works with the Hue bulbs. So I can tell Alexa to turn my lights on. I can tell her to turn the den on, turn the bathroom light on, set a timer to turn my lights on. And Alexa can do all of that.
I like that. So you could just be laying in bed and say, Alexa, dim the bedroom light,
yes,
for example.
Yes.
I like that. So how would you actually train Alexa to do that?
Alexa actually connects, since these light bulbs are handled by an IP address. Amazon has built this into their they built this into their software where it can communicate with the API, because everything that I get, I want to program around. It can connect to the API for Hue and actually control the lights by its IP address. Another cool feature here, I'm going to see if I can get it going. You can actually connect all of your lights to this thing, and you can actually have it play against your music. So I'm going to see if I can set this up here. Right. So let me see if I can select my office light here. Save. Music. Okay. So this should work. There it is. I was looking for some music to play because it only works with music here.
Alexa, wake up.
So, it actually works with the music here. Better music. Are you guys able to see the light change? And I have my cell phone close. It's playing the music.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's alien technology right there.
Yes, that is alien technology.
Because only aliens would want to change their lights with the music.
It's pretty cool.
I think that might have been some Indian music.
This is actually Lindsey Sterling. I absolutely love her as an artist. She's a violinist, but she plays awesome music. It kind of sounds like I don't know. I guess I'm weird because I like that.
I suspect that might drive me insane after a while. I mean, the combination of the lights and the music.
Yeah, I haven't.
Don't you have any Lionel Richie tunes?
Lionel Richie tunes? No Lionel Richie. I do have. I have your favorite, Samir. Yes, your favorite. Let me see if I can find it.
He's afraid now.
He's afraid. Oh man, I know I'm not gonna be able to find this real quick. Oh yeah, there it is.
Zap! Zing! Look at this. You just go ahead, Chris. We'll just entertain ourselves.
You entertain yourselves? I'm almost there. I found it, but that was a club mix. I want to find the real one.
Oh yeah, man. We don't want a club mix.
Oh, Chama Chiquillo.
I don't even know what that is.
Samir may have to tell us what that is.
Samir, what is that?
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite songs.
That's on his hit list.
That is on my hit list.
Well,
I told you it was your favorite. It is an old song now. It's probably about 10 years old now. Yeah, he did. He actually he did the whole thing in I can't remember what language he did it in. I don't think it was Hindi. He did the whole thing in like a whole nother language. He didn't use English. That's the English version of it.
Well, very good, guys. I think maybe we ought to go ahead and just wrap it up for tonight. Any closing thoughts? Maybe Samir, do you have any closing thoughts or words of wisdom?
Oh. Human? Like woman, but human? Oh, human.
Be human.
Be human.
This is good and sound advice. And Chris Jones?
I don't really have a saying, but I want to put in a plug. You should visit robotshop.com. They have a lot of like cool gadgets. Like if you like robots, they have like little mini robots that you control with like remote controls. So I guess my saying would be, go out and have fun. You only live once. YOLO!
Well, very good, guys. I just want to remind everybody they can find us on Facebook. Just search for the IT-Files. You'll find us out there. Go ahead and join up with us. If you find evidence of aliens or alien civilizations, please send them to us on our Facebook page. We'd love to see that. My advice for the week, be kind to animals and just be a good person. So we'll see you guys on the flip side. Good night, everybody.
Next week, stay tuned for Jesse Ventura.
Maybe. Good night, everybody.
Later.